Well, you've heard of Big Pharma, and you've heard of Big Tech, and you've heard Aging with Dignity raising concerns about their influence in the world. Whenever you get with seniors and you see them and their concerns about their health care and where's this all going to lead, and with the rising cost of prescription drugs and Big Pharma's stranglehold on the practice of medicine and how they change the standards of practice to keep the pills popping out there in the world, we see Big Tech and its tyranny with technology and inescapableness. We saw now how Big Tech during COVID was suppressing stories, suppressing the truth, punishing individuals who had dissent and told the truth. Well, get ready now for a third one, which is Big Death. Big Death, I think, is going to be upon us because of the industry that's going to be built around assisted suicide, much the way it was done around gender-affirming care, when insurance companies began to pay for these surgeries that were really mutilation of children. But Big Tech, of course, was augmenting this too with the proliferation of false information about this. It wasn't gender-affirming at all. It was the destruction, the cruelty really of medical care in the lives of young people that needed adults to protect them. Well, now we have assisted suicide working at the other end of life, Big Death coming in. And assisted suicide, I guess, is the response to how we age and how we practice medicine. But do you see things beneath the medical care questions that are operating that make Big Death now front and center as a new way for people to end their lives with an assisted suicide?
Jim, is that legal in the United States?
In 10 states in the District of Columbia it is, and then there are 11 other states right now that are looking at changing their laws to legalize it. So you could see yourself with about 20-some states by the end of this year where it's legal, and it almost parallels the gender-affirming states where that care was provided. That's why I call assisted suicide suicide-affirming care, because it's affirming the practice of suicide and enabling it.
It's part of the dehumanization. I mean, you wonder where it comes from. Well, look at AI. It's taking away our humanity. And if you're dehumanizing people, well, then there's not much value in the human or the life that this person is living. So much so that, well, let's just end it.
Yeah, flip the switch and call it a day.
Unless it's your life, which it is a little bit valuable. I mean, you know, I'm not afraid of death. Right. I think of death far differently than I think a lot of people do. The idea doesn't bother me. I mean, you have to fight to stay alive, sure, okay, but for a purpose. Your life has value. It's intrinsically valued. People's presence here is a gift, and that's what's being lost. The communication to them must be, your presence is no longer a gift. You're a burden.
Right. And it's also a projection people have where they're like, I wouldn't want to live if I were that person. But, you know, that disabled individual has a very meaningful, full life, you know. That's why there's not a single disability rights group in America that supports the legalization of physician-assisted suicide. That ought to tell you something.
That ought to tell you something. They see the writing on the wall.
Right.
And, you know, like there's no Down's babies in Iceland.
Right, they've eliminated Down syndrome.
The problem is gone, but so are those beautiful people.
Yeah.
You know.
And you never talk to the parents with the Down syndrome children that talk about the beautiful gift their son or daughter was or is to them. And I think, I look at the physician-assisted suicide debate as paralleling the gender-affirming care arguments, that medicine was coming in, that this was humane. We're turning our doctors into cruel instruments of medical care. I mean, why would you make a doctor, your physician, assist the death of someone, to actually be complicit in the person's suicide? And that's why 8 countries have euthanasia legalized. They're saying, well, let's cut to the chase. You know,
get the doctor out of the equation.
Yeah, we'll just kill him. We'll bring in Luigi. You know, so it's, you see that movement, and really that's where this will head. It'll head toward euthanasia. It's because physician-assisted suicide, we're finding out, is messy too. The drugs don't work like they say they do. There can be a lot of pain and suffering in the end there. And of course, all the states where it's legal deny this. And then states like Montana don't even provide information on what's going on.
But the body knows how to die. The body knows how to be born. It knows what to do. I mean, at the moment of conception, did you see the video where it's a light? Yeah. I mean, oh wow,
alive,
so stunning.
And the yearning to live.
Yeah, but the body knows how to die. So when you're telling the body what to do, even when they're, you know, anytime you force the body into something, you get problems. That's not what we want.
Right, that's why I'm a big fan of palliative care, hospice care, because it helps people accept that death is coming, and it also prepares them for that moment. And it's as deeply spiritual and personal as childbirth is. But we've often robbed it of that and medicalized it and put people on the healthcare conveyor belt and treated them like slabs of meat, not managed their pain, not accompanied them. So yeah, I think more and more the question is, are we going to turn our physicians into killers? And what does that do to patient and doctor trust? How do you trust your physician if he's got skin in the game where he's probably going to benefit if you are no longer treated because the health system, the health insurance, is pressuring them to deny care? Well, we see that everywhere. Cut costs, deny care, increase profits, right? That's the mantra you see now in medical care today. So you have those incentives there. I worry about the doctor-patient relationship.
I think you're right to worry about it, because when trust is, well, they make fun of the natural modalities. They're exploding for a reason. Patients have lost trust. Then you see the beautiful doctors that are coming up, and they're lovely too. And it would be a very abuse to what they've studied to force them into a position to act against their human instincts.
Right. Well, so far the American Medical Association's held out, but I saw a survey that showed most of the doctors, not the organization itself, but the doctors are in favor of this. So this is a little bit frightening that doctors would think this is humane. But I guess
we're not dogs.
Right, you don't put people to sleep.
You don't put them down.
Yeah, and when you put Skippy down to sleep, it doesn't affect Fido and Boxer over here. But when you do that to human beings, it affects other human beings. It affects family members and all. That's why I worry about this practice catching hold in a country where life is often devalued. But I do think this, suicide-affirming care, when we come to the point where we're trying to commandeer the language of compassion, because big death, that's compassion and choices. Big death is death with dignity. Those organizations are fundraising. They're gearing up to continue to spread very quietly, very secretly, just like how the artificial intelligence also pervaded our lives. This is what big death is now doing with assisted suicide.
But you've written on this, and you have a helpful tool about this in the end-of-life care. So,
and that's 5 Wishes, which helps people have a hopeful vision and not a defeatist one. Well, I think big death is going to be more and more in the news as these organizations continue to try to steer the public toward legalizing assisted suicide. And all you have to do is look at Canada to see where this is heading. Year 1, 1,000 deaths. Last year, 15,000 plus deaths. So we see how quickly the accelerator goes down. It's not so limited, it's not so harmless. It may work for one person here, but what does it do to the disabled and the poor and others who are pushed out the door? I think that's the big challenge that's coming at us.